This is Goochfist. You know the guy. He's a diamond DPS that says things like, I smurf your peak, or I'm definitely not the problem. He's constantly shooting tanks, never finishing off kills, and quite frankly is just not hitting shots with an agent designed in a way where you have to hit them. He doesn't know this yet, and maybe he'll never learn his lesson, but he's the sole reason that we're losing this game. In this video, I'm going to use Goochfist as an example to show you why the amount of damage you get in a game is a useless stat on its own, and how what matters is actually getting kills and final hits as a DPS. I unfortunately had him as my teammate, but here's the plot twist. After the game, he was on the enemy team, and I used it as a chance to prove to him he was the issue by picking DPS and getting more kills, final kills, and damage than him. So before even getting into comparisons or showing you the problem, let's start the game off from the beginning and see how many shots it even takes for him to land his first kill. I'm going to speed things up a bit because, shocker, it takes a while. "146 shots. It took him 146 shots before he got one kill. That ended up being 2 minutes and 46 seconds into our round, and he finally has one. And if you notice, the entire time he was almost exclusively focusing on their tanks, just adding to his damage counter, but not actually getting the kills that the team needs in order to push through. Now, it's very possible that we were the problem, that his supports weren't effective in healing him, or that his tanks weren't pushing the enemy team back and creating space. So for the sake of argument, I want to contrast his gameplay to mine in the game right after this, where he ended up being on the enemy team. So here's the setup. This is me after we immediately queued back up and find that Goochfist is on the other team now. So naturally, I picked DPS, which is a role that I usually play, to prove to him that he was the problem since we had a 3-stack on our end both games. Let's just see how long it takes for me to get a kill here. It took me half the time, 1 minute and 20 seconds to get a kill. And notice who the kill is even on. It's not a tank. It's one of their DPS players because I focus on different people to apply pressure equally at the beginning of the round versus just focusing on one tank, which allows the other players on the enemy team to freely move around the map. Okay, so let's see how Goochfist plays this from his perspective. Surely since we were the problem according to him in the last game, he should be doing better with a new team, right? So here it is. This is exactly what I'm trying to point out with DPS players like Goochfist. He already has his ult, so you can't even use the excuse that I'm trying to farm my ult. But he's still just here, just farming damage, and for what? They're in the cloak ult. Nothing he does here is going to make a difference. His team has backed out, but he's just sitting here, shooting, doing nothing but pumping his damage stat up. And when he goes to check his stats later when his team is losing, he can type in the chat, "I'm definitely not the problem, I'm top DPS in our team," as if that makes any sort of difference. If you're playing DPS, you need to apply pressure to the right targets at the right time. You can't just focus on a tank, or just focus on a healer, or just focus on another DPS. Your goal is to apply pressure in the form of damage and get kills on the targets that are causing the issues for your team. Here's an almost identical scenario. I have my ult, the enemy cloak uses their ult, and instead of just sticking with the targets that are on the cloak ult, I switch targets to those that aren't. Notice how I instantly switch off the target I was trying to kill and switch directly to the more pressing target that I can actually do something about now that the cloak ult is down. Here's another clip showing you how to focus on the right targets to make sure you're getting kills just to solidify it. As the team is coming in, they cloak ult. I don't want to pop my ult yet because I want to wait for a bit for the first phases to go away. I pop my ult, then I immediately notice that Rocket pops his ult. I have a 40% damage boost now, so I focus the Groot as he's the #1 issue for me right now, and I know that I can fry him with both of these ults. Then once he's out of the way and I have clear sight on Luna, I focus on Luna as she's the second biggest problem for me and the team. I go on to focus on Sai to make sure that the backline is fine, but she goes away and I focus on the last one that I can see, which just so happens to be Goochfist. Had to make sure to get one in on him. All this to say that if you're playing a DPS, stop focusing on your total damage. It doesn't mean anything. I would rather have a 9,000 damage Psylocke with 20 kills and 17 final hits than a 30,000 damage Bucky with 24 kills and 15 final hits. The Psylocke is way more efficient at her role than the Bucky is, and is doing way less to allow the enemy team to rack up support ults. Like I said at the beginning, your job as a DPS is to apply pressure and get kills on the right targets at the right time, not to just get kills and get damage. By the way, we made Goochfist rage quit. Couldn't have been a better way to end that game. Appreciate you all watching, hope you learned something, and if not, I hope you enjoyed The Legend of Goochfist. Brother, if you're watching out there, please learn how to play the role. You were 100% the problem in the game we played with you on our team, and you were 100% the problem when we played against you. Catch you in the next one.